Today we're going to be doing some maintenance on this ratchet. It still functions pretty well, so I think the internals are good, but some of the gears are not engaging, especially when I engage the switch back here. It works one direction and then it doesn't work the other, so I think it's a good time to take this apart and clean it. So if you have one of these old Craftsman ratchets, this is a 1/4-inch drive, USA at KU-44807. I'll show you how to do that. Honestly, a lot of the Craftsman are pretty much the same, but all you'll need here is some spring clip pliers here. Take out that spring there in the middle. And sometimes it can be a little bit of a hassle to get out, so what I'll do once I compress that spring is use a pick or something just to lift it out. And if you just pull on that, that will remove the cover plate here and then the main gear here. And we'll take out this. First of all, I think you might need to take out this switch. Let's see here. Yeah. Be very careful when you take this out because there's a spring and a little ball in there that if you're not careful with it will shoot out. So take that out, take the lever out, and then let's see where that little ball is, right there. And you will lose that, so just keep a good eye on that. And then there should be a spring. And there you go. All right, now that we got this apart, what I'm going to do next is clean all of these components here. And then we'll put some new grease in there and hopefully that will help it work better. So I'm always curious to kind of see sometimes, do a little bit of digging before I start my cleanup here. So it might be hard to come through here, but you can see that all the teeth in those gears are caked on with gunk, and that's what will happen over time is that grease will get old and sand, gunk, and other things will clog up those gears, making it a lot harder for it to engage and have a good kind of good feeling engagement, I guess, if you will. So I'm just going to take some time and clean all that out. And you can already see that's made a little bit of a difference. So I'm going to do that to the rest of these parts here. So the pawl, the lever, of course the ball there, the cover plate, the clip there, the spring, as well as the inside of the ratchet. So I'll come back here with an update. Alright, so once you've cleaned the parts as much as you can use some degreaser or whatnot to really fine-tune your work. Honestly, I mean, as you look at the parts, you'll notice that especially the gears here will get caked on with old grease that will get combined with crap, dirt, sand, and whatnot, and that will also get caught up here in the pawl, which I've also used my pick here to clean out, and I think that's a very helpful tool to have. You can also use a small screwdriver, but once you get all your parts cleaned and degreased to your satisfaction, the next thing we'll do here is we'll want to get a nice clean area, and if you want to wear gloves for this next part, you're more than welcome to. But next we'll want to put in the lubricant of our choice. So here I like to use the Super Lube. honestly, there's a lot of stuff out there that you can read about how to, what's the right thing to use for your ratchet. Some ratchets, if you want to still warranty them, you have to use a specific kind. So honestly, I'll leave it to you in your research where you want to go. Personally, the kind of rule of thumb I use is if it has a lower count of teeth, something, less than maybe 90 or 80 teeth, then I'll use something like Super Loop, something a little bit thicker. But for, more fine, coarse teeth things like 100, 90 plus to 100 and so on and so forth, that I'll use something a little bit thinner than this. So again, totally up to you. But yeah, let's reassemble this thing. So first thing I'll do is get some grease on my finger here and then just apply it to the inside of the body of the ratchet. And don't go crazy. I mean, grease can go a long way. I mean, obviously you want to do your due diligence, but you also, this stuff you'll see can be extended a long way. Get a little more here on the top. And honestly, once you close it all together, it's going to squeeze all out everywhere anyway, so you'll be surprised how a little bit can go a long way. All right, once you've greased the inside, the next thing you'll do is you want to put the spring in there, and you can throw a little bit of grease on there if you'd like. And then you'll just stick it down into the hole here inside the ratchet. And again, this is where something like a pick or a small screwdriver comes in handy. So then we'll get that pushed down there. The next thing that will go on here is the little ball here. And this is what allows, this is what the pawl rides on. Let's see if you can kind of see that. But essentially what goes on is the little ball, the pawl will ride back and forth on to switch the direction of the ratchet. So here, actually, maybe I'll zoom up a little bit more as we work on this. But let's see here. So now we'll get that ball in there. And that will just sit on top of the spring. And honestly, putting some grease on top of it, on that ball, helps because that will help it stick. So I'm going to steal some of the grease from the inside and have it sit on there. Okay, now that we have that ball and spring in there, the next thing we put on is the pawl. So what I like to do is come in here from the back end, push down the ball and spring here, if I can get it. And this is probably the hardest part because the ball will want to move all over the place. All right, and then while we got that, next thing I'll do is I'll put in the pawl. Let's see if I can get this on. So this is the hard part here. It's just getting this on. I'm gonna cheat here and use the hole in the pawl to drag that through. Just gonna try dropping it in now because this is being a pain in the neck. I guess look at that. So yeah, basically that's what you want to do is get it back in there so that the ball here is under the pawl here. Next thing you want to do is put the gear in, because this is going to then push that pawl down so that we can then insert the lever in the back. So now I'm going to get some grease here. And again, there's already plenty of grease in there, so I'm just going to give it a coating. And then we'll push that down. And now we'll put that through the back. Oops. There we go. Just like that. It's all good to go. And I'll put a dab here on the back of the cover plate, just so, you know, this ribbon, so that this all gets covered here on the front side. Put a little bit here, a little bit there, there. And then we'll just slide that in, push that down. And before you put the snap ring back in, you'll want to make sure that the lever goes back and forth. And it already feels 100 times better. And test out the gears, and oh man, I wish you could hear the difference from the start, but it just, you can't even practically hear it. It's so smooth. You know, test both ways. Beautiful. And now once you've tested both ways, we'll put our snap ring back in. It's a lot easier to put back in. So we'll just get the openings here, compress to shrink the snap ring, and drop it in like such. Give it a little bit more here. It didn't go all the way in. And that's it. Oh man, it's not skipping, it's not getting stuck. And what I'll do next is, of course, clean off the excess grease here that comes out. But yeah, that's as simple as it is to grease this up and repair it. And honestly, you want to do this pretty, you know, you want to be good about keeping an eye on it and doing it, because the grease will help prolong the life of the Ratchet. Once it becomes, that grease becomes dry and old, the gears are more likely to wear. And honestly, I know, especially with the old Craftsman, I mean, some of those are really nostalgic, and honestly, I've heard, you know, better quality than the new ones. So even with any Ratchet, you know, it's just nice to take care of. And heck, how much are Ratchets these days? I mean, you can spend 20 to 30 bucks on a decent one, and even more than that if you have a more expensive one. So it pays to take care of these and hopefully let them last. So that was it. If you have any questions or suggestions, please feel free to share them in the comment section below. I appreciate you watching. If you learned something useful or you found the video helpful, I appreciate a like and also a subscribe. Again, thank you so much. If you